Welcome back, guys. In today's video, we're gonna do a quick talking watches in the car, this time stationary, not moving. And today's topic is one that most collectors are familiar with, but I like to make some content that's tailored for new collectors or people who are just curious to know about watches. So today's topic is Rolex watches being tool watches, and specifically that most Rolex models are meant to be tool watches. As much as you may think that Rolex is a luxury brand and they have luxury watches, they were originally meant to be tool watches. That is, that they were designed to fulfill a specific task, almost to the point where it was made for a specific career field. So let's say if you were a pilot, the Rolex GMT was designed for you.
You're in the military and the Air Force quite a long time, and you said this watch was a daily wear, which I love. I mean, watches are nice to collect, and there's the pieces that kind of live in the safe, and they're either collectible or special or whatever. But these watches were meant to be tool watches, and I think more so back in that time, where now I think a lot of them are turning more into a jewelry piece than a tool piece. So I love that you actually wore it every day and used it at work. And I mean, it had to perform well, and it did. I mean, that was part of the reason the watches were expensive. Even at $140 something that you paid for it, that wasn't a little amount of money back then, right? I mean, that was a significant amount.
Yes, it was. And I'll tell you, the watch, it had such a cachet among Air Force fighter pilots that most guys who could afford it did so, got them.
And the Rolex Submariner was designed for divers. And the list goes on. The Rolex Explorer was designed for pretty much what the name says, to explore. Specifically for splunkers, that's cave exploration. So that's one thing not everyone knows, is that Rolex timepieces back in the day, way in the beginning, were designed specifically to accomplish a task. Now, we could all say that every watch is a tool watch, and you'll be correct, because every watch tells the time.
You're a smart motherfucker, that's right.
We're gonna be going beyond that, beyond a watch telling the time. Now, not every model that Rolex made was made as a tool watch. And the three that comes to mind right now that I would consider non-tool watches, that was just completely luxury dress watches, are the Rolex Day-Date President, the presidential watch. Most people may know it by that. The Rolex Datejust, and the Cellini. Those are the three that comes to mind right now on the spot that aren't really tool watches. They just tell the time and they tell the day and date. Normal functions. Weren't really designed to dive deep in the ocean, to get banged up on the coral reefs, and it was just dress luxury watches. Now, I keep throwing out the word luxury. And Rolex is, yes, a luxury watch brand. And I ended up looking up the definition of luxury. I'm going to paraphrase right now. And if I remember correctly, it says an inessential item that's expensive and desirable or hard to obtain. If I remember correctly, I did look it up earlier. But that's the definition. And when I think about Rolex is expensive, but that is subjective. A lot of people may consider a Rolex Datejust or Submariner not expensive, but let's not be crazy now. Yes, in general, a Rolex timepiece is expensive, especially in today's world. Most people can't afford it. Desirable, yes, Rolex is desirable. And hard to obtain, so pretty much rare. That one I would kind of question. I don't think Rolex timepieces are hard to obtain. The 80s like to make it seem like it is, but in reality it isn't. You can get a Rolex timepiece, whatever model you want, anywhere. And even now you could get it from the AD like that, because they're desperate. Let me not talk shit. Look, guys, I love Rolex watches. I just have an issue with, or a problem with, the Rolex ADs. So don't ever, look into my videos when I talk about Rolex and think I don't like Rolexes. I love the Rolex watch. I just don't like how some ADs treat the customers. But anyways, guys, my point of looking up the definition is to really see whether or not Rolex is luxury. And they are, but in a way I could say they're not. if Rolex somehow loses the interest of most people, like the desire to get a Rolex watch, what are they going to really be relying on? The fact that they're expensive? They're definitely not hard to obtain. So for the most part, they're really hanging on a string, to be honest. Comment down below and let me know if you kind of see where I'm coming from. But let's compare Rolex's luxury to Patek's luxury. Patek Philippe is real luxury. That's definitely top tier luxury. These watches are actually hard to obtain. They're expensive for sure for most people. Even a small majority, they might look at it, yes, that's an expensive watch, that's a fine timepiece. And yeah, so comparing Rolex to Patek, hands down, Patek Philippe is luxury. Rolex, on the other hand, yes, it's luxury, but I really put Rolex in different categories. I'll put them as a tool watch first, then luxury comes second. Patek Philippe, I put Patek first as a luxury watch, and then a timepiece, like a timekeeper. I can't even look at a Patek as a tool watch. Just saying the word tool just sounds crazy to label and identify a Patek watch. But anyways, what I want you guys to get from this video is to understand that from the beginning of time, the dawn of time that Rolex came to existence, their main goal was to create models and to design watches to perform specific tasks. They were completely tool watches. They were complete tool watches, except for those three models that I mentioned: the Rolex Day-Date, the Rolex Datejust, and the Cellini. And I mentioned before, yes, all watches have a function, so yes, they're tools, but we're going beyond that and looking at these watches for what they were really designed for. And again, like the Submariner, that was designed to dive deep in the ocean. We need to understand, I know this is 2024, so our minds are just so stuck on, not understanding where time was. Back then, there was the unknown. I know today everything, we seem like we know everything. People like to go around thinking they know everything through Google and the internet, and they think they know. And yes, that's because back then, these watch brands, these watch companies, these companies in general, not just with watches, were basically trying to explore and learn new things, figure out the world, understand space exploration, go deeper and deeper in the ocean, go through the caves to see what other life is down in these caves, So we need to really think back and understand what was going on back then, because right now it is hard to look at a Rolex watch and look at it as a tool and say this is a tool watch, because it's so shiny sometimes, it's so expensive that a lot of us are just like, I can't put this watch on and go in a cave and bang it up and stuff. That just sounds crazy. But even today, they are tool watches, even more so today, because they're built, more to last than they were back then. So that's my point, guys. I want you guys to comment down below, share anything that I haven't touched on. But the overall point is, yes, Rolex is a mid-tier luxury watch, but for the most part, Rolex's ultimate purpose and goal was to design watches to perform a certain function as like a tool. Unlike some of the other luxury brands that we may mention, like Patek, Vacheron, AP, some of those other watches, their mindset wasn't, let's design this tool watch for this specific person to accomplish a task, if you understand what I'm saying. But anyways, guys, I don't want to make this video too long. Thanks for watching. Continue to support. Give this video a thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed yet, and stay tuned for some more videos.